This is a tutorial for week 1, assignment 2, which deals with the 3 major properties of color, which are hue, value, and saturation. You're going to create 3 scales that deal with each one of the 3 properties of color. The first scale is a gradation and hue at maximum saturation. Excuse me. The first step for you to do is to set up your blend. We're going to use the blend tool to create a smooth transition across the interval. So in the object palette, you want to select blend and blend options. You'll get a dialog box that you want to select specified steps and indicate the intermediary steps in between the 2 end positions. So we have 8 squares that are in between the 2 end positions. Next thing you want to do is determine a color for this first square. It's gradation and hue at maximum saturation, so you want to choose a very bright color. Saturation relates to the intensity of a color, so a fully saturated color, a maximum saturated color, is very bright. So I'm going to select red. Then all you have to do is, using your selection tool, drag and drop to the first position. I'd like to use red for the beginning position of all of my scales, so I'm going to drag and drop to those areas as well. Now, gradation and hue at maximum saturation means that the beginning position and the end position should be a highly saturated color. So I'm going to select a color for my end position. I'm going to select this blue here, which is very vibrant and intense. Then I'm going to drag and drop it to the end of the interval. Next thing for me to do is to use the blend tool to create the steps in between the 2 end positions. The blend tool is this tool here. After selecting it, you want to click on the first position and the last, and it will create the steps in between for you. You can see that when it creates these steps, they transition evenly, meaning that there's not a large jump from one color to the next. There's a smooth transition throughout the interval. Your second scale is a gradation in value, maintaining a fixed hue. Value relates to the relative light or darkness of a color, so how much white or how much black is mixed into your hue. Our hue is red. We want to transition in value, so I want to make it lighter. You could make it darker. So I'm going to select white as my end position and drag and drop. Now I'm going to create the blend. After creating the blend each time, you want to make sure that you use your selection tool to click off of the object so that nothing is highlighted. The next step is gradation and saturation, maintaining a fixed hue, meaning it's going to be red across the entire interval, and a fixed value, meaning that it's going to look like it doesn't get any darker or lighter. When you play with the saturation of a color, that tends to wash out a color. If a color becomes desaturated, it looks more washed out. It's getting to more of a gray tone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up one of my other swatch libraries. I'm going to get my default RGB library, which gives me a range of grays, and I want to select a gray that looks like it's not darker or lighter than this red. Okay, now I'm going to create the blend. So now we have a scale that doesn't look like it gets lighter or darker. It looks like it maintains a fixed value, and the hue is maintained as well. It's red, transitioning all the way to gray. So that's how you would complete your first assignment.